The mill is that in Samson and Delilah, he needed a voice for God in the beginning, so he used his own voice. But all directors are different. I mean, they all work in different ways. You know, some are a little more back, some are right down in front with you, and it depends. I always got along. The worst ones I got along with, like I said, were the ones that give you too much direction. I like the ones that give you some freedom.
You know, for me, David Lynch was the last director I worked with that actually was on this side of the camera, not sitting behind a monitor.
Yeah, but right in the beginning when we first started, it was like David was always on the end of the dolly. I mean, he would be like, the camera would be on the dolly. He would sit on the dolly underneath the camera, and the camera was right there. I mean, it was incredible. And by the end, though, I think he was monitoring.
Do you remember? Do you remember when we were in the car together in the pilot?
And he stayed in the car.
So Bobby's driving, Shelley's snuggled up next to him, and David's right.
I didn't want him in there. I was like,
No, he's literally on the floor of the passenger seat. Now that I think about it, he had quite the view.
He always, on all of our scenes, we would always ask the kissing scenes, I'd always ask David, what, on a scale from 1 to 10, where should this be? And he'd always go, 11! He always wanted us 11! He always wanted us to, make out, always. It wasn't just a kiss.
In my experience, I always felt that David had the ability to just push you to the point of discomfort. I've seen it in other films of his, like in Blue Velvet, where he would just let the actor hang out there for that extra. Oh, you just want to say, oh God, let her put her clothes on, or let somebody rescue her, or whatever. But he would do that because something happens at that point. Something very real happens at that point, and he knew that.
I got to tell you, one thing that I was just thinking that David told me that one of his direction thing was, I don't know if he said it to you guys, but he said it to me a couple of times in different scenes. He'd finally get it and he'd say, Russ, that was perfect. That was perfect. Let's do one more. That was one of his, which I always enjoyed. Let's make it more than perfect. Better than perfect.
So there's a scene in the Twin Peaks movie where all the kids from the high school are supposed to be dancing. Remember, coming out of and David couldn't get these kids to move at all. Right? It was just a disaster. So he's on the loudspeaker and he says, "There are kids who have soul and can dance." And there's kids who don't have soul and can't dance, and then there's your people.
Just to add that, yeah, he would, I don't know if there's, well, raise your hand if you're here because you want to be a director or you're interested in screenwriting or something. Oh, okay. David had this, this way of getting you to, you knew you would get down to your base level of truth. You knew that you wouldn't leave the set without, that's the scene that's going to be the best. And we're not leaving until we get there. And he would push you to that point of uncomfortableness, where another director would get in and get it. And you knew as an actor, like, that's good, that's solid, but it's not like truth. He'd have this uncanny sense of, we're not there yet, let's keep going. But he would make you feel like, let's keep going, we're on the clock. It was like, we're all here to play together. I'm here to kind of find out. There's a discovery to it. When he would go in there, he'd discover it with him. And I still don't know whether he knew in the back of his head what he wanted, and he just kind of guided you there, or he really didn't know, and he was coming in there to discover it with you.
I think it was both.
It was both?
Yeah, at different times,
Yeah.
But I mean, he definitely coming in with ideas, like, you could come in with an idea and he'd shoot it down, or he'd accept it, but he never made you feel like uncomfortable asking or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was always open, always.
So anyway, my encouragement is when, if you do, get on the set, respect the actors. I mean, you're there to work with them, and to get the most out of them. And it's an uncomfortable place to be. It's hard to get in front of the camera. It's hard to open yourself up. It's hard. Make it safe. Make it safe for them. Challenge them. Know what you want, but you've got to be able to work with them and help them.
Yeah, being good to actors is always better than being bad to actors. You hear these stories of like Howard Hawks or Freedom Ken shooting guns off of people's feet and stuff like that. That sort of stuff has never worked for me in my career when guys have tried to they want me to be angry or something and they'll try to manipulate me into being angry as a person so it never works. It's like way better to be like complimented and to be like, that was great. Try this, do a positive aspect. You can get actors to do anything for it.
But the hard thing is that nowadays with television shows, you're on the clock. Every single second, it has a price tag to it, and people will just rush through it, and they'll say it's good enough, move on. Right. It's good enough, move on. Right. And I don't know how David was able to do this. And he completely ruined me from that point forward, because then I always went, no, it's not the best it could be, and you sort of left with that sinking feeling. So I guess try to take that into this new world of money, and I would assume it was probably like that even before Twin Peaks, I guess. I don't know.
Well, don't you think that it also, the crew got frustrated when David would come in, because, we were on a TV schedule, and we had other TV directors coming in, and we were moving pretty good. But when David would come in, the whole pace would change. It'd be like we'd do whatever. It'd take however long it took. It wasn't like, Greg Feinberg would be like, chomping his nails, because we're on overtime and crew and all this stuff. But it was like we never felt that pressure ever.
Well, and Jill, you were in a set that frequently had a lot of people also moving around. There must have been some crazy things going on there. I mean, once you're at the Great Northern, you've got Norwegians, you've got the Icelandic folk running around.
Yeah, in those great big huge scenes like that, directors were like traffic cops, which is a good thing. It's just moving all these people around and having all these elements happen, especially in the musical scenes, or like the big fire scene at the end of this. That was a huge night out by Lake Malibu, I think it was, and it was freezing cold, and the fire kept getting bigger and bigger and out of control, and but it was orchestrated beautifully. David knew exactly what he wanted to do.
I was not acting; those were real screams.
Exactly, I know. I mean, it was scary as hell. It's so easy to get out of control. It's really true, but. Yeah, he's such a concept director, which is the best way to be.